Hi, so I recently came across the problem of other minds, an interesting philosophical query that raises doubt in a way and questions the existence of minds in others. For example, I know that my mind exists, I'm conscious and aware, but how do I know that you have a mind? And how do I know if you do have a mind that it works in the same way? Do the same stimuli elicit the same response? And in some philosophical modes of thinking, that is sometimes used to kind of support the idea that people have or potentially have no mind. In others, though, it's kind of, the fact that I understand what pain is like and my behavioural responses, and I see other people exhibit those, so therefore they must have minds that work in the same way. So there is a lot of ground on both sides. What really intrigued me is how would it relate to mental illness. It's not something that, as far as I've been able to look into, has been heavily researched. Now, what is mental illness? Well, it's generally a disorder of the mind. Whether that comes through primarily in behavioural or perhaps mood-related things, but those mood-related things will obviously have their behavioural elements, which is sometimes how people can know to seek help for people perhaps in mental distress. But, with some mental illnesses, their entire existence is related to perception of reality, perception of other people being other people. There are a number of different often physiologically based conditions where people just cannot perceive, if you will, other minds. They cannot distinguish that these other people are people. They could in fact just be automata or robots. So that is kind of intriguing how this thought experiment really, or sceptical question in a way, is so easy to link with certain mental illnesses. Schizophrenia as well, the hallucination aspects can include in some cases the belief that in fact no one else is real. Sometimes it's more like one is the centre, if you will, of a Truman Show kind of experience. Sometimes it's that nobody else is anything but a robot, clad in skin to lull one into a full sense of security. Now there are also a number of mental illnesses which can sometimes heighten one's perception of reality when everything is extra real. So does that come on the other side? It's all very interesting questions, and there isn't a finite answer, really. It's one thing that perhaps bugs me about this. I will never have a definite answer of whether you have a mind in the proper sense. And if we take the materialistic view, then obviously yes, I can clearly tell that there are people out there who have eyes that have rods and cones, and some of those detect, say, red light, and that coincides with my perception of red light. But what about colour blindness? If we link the idea of a brain and a mind together, even though philosophically speaking they're not quite, then hopefully once you're dead, I can sort of open up your skull and look at the insides. If there's a brain there, chances are you had a mind, chances are you were real, and that's fine. But again, that's a materialistic proof, and really this question comes from a lot more of that philosophical thought level idea. The fact that I saw this query and went with it myself, does that show I have a mind, or was I pre-programmed? Were you pre-programmed to watch? it's a very interesting subject, and one I'll continue to look into. But I just thought it might be something to tackle with your own minds if you have them. So until next time, take care.